This is Daryl Evans with Kings Vision at LAKings.com with Kings Assistant General Manager Ron Hextall. Ron, the 2013 draft has come to a conclusion. Kings were able to make some selections. And you look at the situation where the Kings are right now, having won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago, this past season, getting to the semifinals. When you come to these drafts now, you're really probably looking down the road a little bit where you can be a little bit more patient with these players, allow them to develop. College kids finish that part of their thing, finish their junior, and then probably go to Manchester and start the development.
For sure. You think obviously the better team you have, the longer you give your kids, you don't rush kids in, and you know their training is really what it should be instead of expedited. I mean, you look at Oscar Moeller, we put him in the NHL at 19, and looking back, probably a mistake on our part, but when you get a better team, you're not rushing your kids, you're giving them the time that they need. And I think if you look at guys like Pearson, Vey, and Toffoli, if these kids would have come in 5 or 6 years ago, they'd have been knocking on the door at the start of the season. So it's a good situation to be in, but you still have to come to the draft, you have to prepare, and really we got to still restock the shelves.
And when you look at this year's draft, 2 days combined into one, how did that change things, especially down on the table? A lot less time, not the opportunity to regroup as a staff and get ready for the second day.
I think there's less trade talk because I think after the first day you have the first round, and then those first picks in the second round are highly coveted because everybody knows who's there. So I think there was less talk about probably your second round picks and less preparation than in the past.
And what we also saw too with next year the salary cap dropping a little bit, we saw some players getting bought out. Some of the trades had come about in the last week. It seemed like there was a lot more activity this year than in the years in the past.
Yeah, there was some activity. I mean, obviously you guys like LeCavalier becoming available, you know, really out of the blue. A team doesn't want to let him go, but you're forced to let him go because of the reduction in the cap and the contracts that they've signed. So there was some movement. I think it's going to make it a little more interesting on July 1st for some teams as well.
Now the next few days with free agency coming up on July the 5th. After that, prospect camp will come about, and then probably everybody kind of goes their own way for about 4 or 5 weeks, work out on their own, and probably around mid-August, third week of August, that's when the team will get back together and start working out as a group.
Yeah, there's not a lot of downtime for us as a management team. You know, this is, as you mentioned, the draft, and then you go into free agency, and then you get the development camp, and then, you know, later in July it starts to slow down for a bit. But there's always something going on.
Well, I know the last few days have been real hectic for you and your staff. I know you got a couple of days now to unwind, but then again, you got to get tuned back in for free agency. Great job and good luck on free agency coming up on July 5th.
Thanks, Daryl.
This is Daryl Evans with Kings Vision at LAKings.com with Kings Assistant General Manager Ron Hextall.